That's what they want to do to Russia. They want to break it into 4 pieces, 5 pieces, exploit the resources. It'll be divided like any other empire. Greetings, friends. The biggest weakness of Russia is that so many of their people look up to America because they've been influenced by Hollywood and the global media, the American dream, the idea that everything's great in America. This is an idea that you can see all around the world. You can see it in Africa, where people think that money grows on trees in America. Now, I don't know if that's what Russians think, but they think that they see the television and the movies and the way the cities are, and they want to emulate the way of life, even though to us in the West it may seem a very shallow way of life, which is actually existing in the carcass of a dying civilization, or a civilization which is certainly not going to be the Western one it was previously. So it's a different perspective for us, but this is a real strength of actually the global American empire. They may be losing militarily right now, or at least a stalemate with, we'll see what Russia does in the next few weeks. Could be very big, but we'll see. But either way, militarily, Russia has strength right now, but the real threat to Russia is not some Ukrainian offensive or some new sanctions package or some new shipment of American weapons or even NATO troops. That would be very dangerous, though, if the troops get involved. But no, the most dangerous thing is a regime change at home, like a popular uprising, popular quote unquote, like CIA sponsored uprising, which gets rid of Putin or kills him or whatever, forces him to flee, and they install their own liberal-backed, American-sponsored puppet regime. Something, or at least something in their sphere of influence, like they did in Ukraine in 2014, which led to a lot of these problems. Or like they want to do in countless other countries around the world. In some countries they have succeeded. This is something we see with Iran too. The threat to Russian culture is that they don't want to believe in themselves. You should, if you are living in Russia, you should be proud of your Russian civilization. It has stood the test of time. Look how we are in the West. It's chaos. Do not think that American culture or Western culture generally, or anything you see in Hollywood, is something worth emulating. This is spiritually dead. Related to this threat is the ever-present threat of the intelligentsia. So it's the intelligentsia class, which has been a threat, which are really the modern liberals in a sense. It's more or less the modern liberal. You see them in Iran, you see them in Russia, they come here, they say, oh, things are so bad in Russia, there's no women's rights, we don't have feminism, and we see this problem all over the world. It's like the globalist virus. You infect the people slowly over the generations, and you defeat them because you're playing on a different strategy level. It's like moral corruption, it's like degeneracy. That brings your people down and then allows them to be dominated by this global money power. But really, that's the biggest threat to a country like Russia. Is this could be a really real political crisis at home. It has to do with the confidence of the people. But I wouldn't be so certain that just because the intelligentsia flees or doesn't like their own country, Russia, that's necessarily going to bring down Russia. Sometimes those people need to be kicked out, and they can go to California or whatever. They come here, and then, but it's just going to tip the scales here. There's just going to be a spiral here. And these liberals, I don't know how can their societies continue to exist, because they can't raise good families. They do have kids, some of them, but look at the world they're growing up in. Not healthy. So we'll see what happens in a generation or two in the West and in Russia. But Iran has the same problem. China, maybe they say they have more self-confidence in China, but many of the Chinese young people still go to study in Harvard, and they want that status of the American university. Why not go to a Chinese university? So this sort of cultural power and the master, and it's not just that Hollywood was good. It's like there is nothing like Hollywood anywhere else. Well, I mean, there's Bollywood and there are movie industries, but there's like that sort of level of propaganda and mastery of really hypnotism something peculiar to America and its place in history, that sort of cultural power, and also the attendant changes in culture which that entails. That's a sort of power we haven't seen maybe in a long time. And really this is what the other peoples of the world have to keep in mind if they want to resist falling into the beast system. Hasta luego, amigos.